I'm an assistant county attorney prosecutor. I specialize in gender violence, domestic violence, sexual exploitation, and sex trafficking. And it's really rewarding work because it's situations where we're talking about vulnerable people who are being taken advantage of. And I find it really, really rewarding to help them out and help get them to services and support, and then to hold the people who are doing this to them accountable. I also serve as a state representative where I've helped to pass some laws relating to sex trafficking and supporting the fight against it. So sex trafficking under Minnesota law is really just prostitution involving a third person. So the exchange of money or drugs or food, whatever else for sex, where there's a third person involved. That's sex trafficking. Until recently, a big challenge was that people just didn't realize this was going on. And there's been much work done by many groups to make folks realize that it is happening. It still is a challenge, though, having people understand the reality of this, that it is, in fact, fueled by vulnerability, which is experienced by a lot of kids and a lot of people, understanding that really is happening around us. It's not tied to specific events like the Super Bowl or whatever else in particular. This is something that's happening all around us, all throughout our state. That's probably the biggest hindrance for now, is to kind of view things that way. And finally, recognizing that the people experiencing this because they're vulnerable can sometimes be pretty difficult to deal with. And so the model we have in our minds, a particular kind of situation involving trafficking, much like the movie Taken, that can be really misleading for our purposes. And so understanding the full reality of it. But we're getting there. As a prosecutor, what I want to do is to hold the people accountable who are doing bad things, but also to help the people who are experiencing that harm. For a couple of years, I was the director of statewide training and protocol development. So what that means is that I traveled around the state training police officers and others. The basic message for law enforcement in these trainings is that this really is a problem, that it's something that is happening all around us, that fighting it requires thinking about it in different ways and using some different techniques and different approaches, and recognizing the people involved truly are victim survivors, and that they deserve our support and our help and our understanding. The people doing this to them deserve to be held accountable. The thing that's really rewarding about this work is that each individual case that you can address and crack is helping somebody out, right? So that's wonderful even on its own. But of course we want to, as much as we can, step back and try to help as many people experiencing this as possible. So Safe Harbor is Minnesota's approach to the exploitation of kids especially. So what the basis of the law is to say that somebody who is under 18 cannot be charged with prostitution. We recognize somebody experiencing that is a victim survivor. We need to direct her or him to the child protection system. And we've built up a whole network of services and support for those kids as well. In the future, we hope that we will provide real support for everyone experiencing vulnerabilities, as that's what fuels exploitation trafficking, and that we also will have changes in how men especially are interacting with women and viewing women and feeling the right to buy women. The best way that people can fight trafficking is actually to identify the people who are vulnerable around them. It's the kid who's experiencing homelessness or abuse, or even just feeling estranged and not feeling connected in their world. And lifting that kid up is one of the best ways they can fight trafficking. The other thing is to take seriously this idea that in terms of how men view women, and the fact that the purchase of another human being for sex is never acceptable. And this is a big societal problem, so sure, it's going to be a challenge to take it on, but it's one that's really worthwhile.